Hi guys, my name's Sean Greenhalgh. I'm from Sydney, Australia. I'm a graphic designer. I work that job on a day-to-day basis. I've been doing it basically since I left school. I just wanted to make this video about some of our industry tools that we use and where it's heading in the future, what people think about it, and just to get a discussion kind of going and see what really think about what's going on in terms of what tools we use when we go to work and work with clients. And I've been something's really been bothering me over the last few years in this kind of area, and I've tried to try to see things a bit more clearly and to try and pick the right road for the future in terms of what tools I use when I do my work and things like that. And currently still we have big companies like Adobe holding a monopoly on the design industry, and no one else basically gets a look in. There's little companies like Sketch and Affinity also, which are making some good software, and other little companies that are making software. Mac OS X is still a big one. Mac is very much like the design standard for graphic design. Anyway, in 3D it's different, but Windows is kind of slowly creeping into the industry, and we're seeing more people use it. Even at college, when I went to college, there was a lot of kids using PCs because they couldn't afford Macs and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of where it is at now. But anyway, recently I had a son, which is very exciting. His name's James, and we love him very much, me and my partner, and transitioning from a single person to a family man has been a big thing for me. And when you become a member of a family, your money goes to different places that it didn't go before, and you have a lot less money to spend on things. And when I was in college, I used Adobe Creative Suite, Creative Cloud, all throughout college, and it was great while I used it. But when you're a student, you get a discount on the actual software, and you don't get that once you finish college. It's kind of you have to pay for it, and it's roughly, in Australia, it's about $60 a month, or just over $60 a month to pay for it. And it comes with a big, large collection of apps, as you know. But for someone like me who only really does print design, I only need a few apps to get by with. And it's just made me think, and I have this idea that I'd like to throw out there to the design community, and it is that I believe personally that the design community needs to transition into open source software and free software. And you might call me like a loony or something like that, but the cost of using Adobe software is far too expensive, and it's ridiculous, and they're making massive profit margins off it. I only read an article a few weeks ago, and they were talking about how big the profits were that Adobe was making from their software, that it actually put their company on the stock exchange. And to me, that's not really what design's about. Like, people should be able to afford the software that they use. They should be able to afford it, or at least have it, kind of thing. And Adobe is making way too much money for it. Like, they are really ripping people off big time. And you don't notice it at first when you sign up, but I think over time you realize, like, it's a long range kind of way of connecting, like, people into contract systems with their company, and you stay in this Creative Cloud contract over time, and that's how they make their maximum profit. It doesn't look like much up front, and that's how they sell you into it. And anyway, it's just really bad. And when you have a family and you don't have much money to spend on software, you really notice like it's really expensive to use that. And a lot of single people out there who are doing design and stuff like that, they're probably like, hey, it's only $60 a month or whatever. But for me, like, it's a massive hit on your bank account. Like, $60 is big for a month, and it adds up. $60 every month for the rest of the year, right? It's a lot of money. And it just got me thinking, like, what are the alternatives out there? And some of them are Affinity Designer of Photo, two that pop up, and also free software, which is things like Blender and like GIMP and like Inkscape and Scribus and things like that. And I found this French artist on the internet, and he's a professional illustrator, and he uses complete open source software to do a lot of his work. He's been doing it since 2009 just because the cost was so expensive to use software. He was up in arms because he had to pay for Corel Painter license and like a Photoshop license and things like that. And when you add all these costs up, it actually adds up to a lot. And anyway, this guy has been using free software since 2009, and he gets away with it. And he's a professional artist. His work looks amazing. Like, it looks as good as anyone else's. And I'm like, why can't we do the same thing? Like, why can't people donate money? It's like donating to a charity. You donate to like a foundation, and then they take that money and then they hire developers for the year, and then they make the software and they release it free to the public. And I really believe that if the design industry was to transition to this, if enough people could rebel and go down that path, we could make software that was like awesome, like really awesome and free, like anyone can download it, kind of thing. And can you just imagine, like, if all the designers on the planet invested like $20 into donations into like GIMP, for example, like the Photoshop kind of equivalent, the free version. If everyone invested like $20 into that, and then they hired developers for the year, they could make like an amazing piece of software, like even if it was only like the same as like Adobe Photoshop CS6, but it was free. Like, you own it. You don't have to pay anything else. There's no more money you have to pay. There's no contract system. It's free. And you download it. Everyone can download it for free. But it does require people to be generous and give the money. But that would be amazing. And these days, like, the actual design that people have to do, it's pretty basic stuff. It's like general Photoshop work, like, cutting out pictures. There's nothing really new. It's like little effects and maybe tools to help you do your job, but it literally wouldn't matter if you're using CS5, even CS4 maybe these days, like in Photoshop or Illustrator, etc. And like the Catholic Church makes money completely from donations, and so I don't see why a company like GIMP or like Krita or like Inkscape couldn't like collect enough money to make their software really good to give away for free. And I don't know, I just think it's a really good idea, and I think that if everyone got behind it, we could make something really good, and it would be completely free. No one would ever have to pay for anything, and it would be amazing. But like I said, everyone would have to give a little bit of money. You wouldn't have to pay as much as you pay for Adobe software, but it would be just as good because lots of people would give enough money to it. So yeah, I have this dream. That's the dream. And I really think that it's a very feasible kind of goal for people and for the world, kind of thing, to make software like that. It's I really think we could do that. So anyway, just let me know what you think in the comments below. I know there's always the old argument about how people don't get paid. They have to be paid on a day-to-day basis to do programming, and that's why Microsoft is good, etc. But the amount of profit that they're making on like Adobe software, and even like even Corel Painter or like Quark or something like that, the amount of profit they're making on it, I'm pretty sure like if people gave enough money, like, that wasn't to the cost of that, we could make insane software that could be given away for free and everyone could use it for absolutely nothing. And I really think that would be something really great for the world. Thank you.